Hello and welcome to the Podblast and The Winter King, episode 7. I'm a little upset at this week's episode for a few reasons, so bear with me. With 3 moons to go, Arthur is having a good old think about his options, and the showrunners do their usual business, so we're setting off on the right foot here. They use the moon to represent the time. They say we've got 3 moons to go, and we see it throughout the episode as we get closer and closer, and so they're trying to bookend the episode. Very good, it's what you do as a director, but this is an anticlimax because it's one bookend, it's used throughout, and then the final scene is not a marriage by moonlight, which is the thing that is meant to be anyway. It was in the book, so I was half expecting it, and when it didn't happen, it was like, well, all that was kind of for nothing, wasn't it? For reasons of budgetary constraints, I suppose, Gorford is now the person with the collective knowledge of Britain as opposed to King Ban. And he's such a sweetheart in this episode. He really is. And he's really interested in getting his daughter laid, more than getting married, I think, because he talks about it a lot in this episode. It's interesting. Derval, he put the dumb in Dumania, that's not fair, and his mullet, which he received from the boys when they had their makeover last week. He goes fruit collecting in order to make horse balm. Let me just check my notes. Yes, that's what happens. He has another bit of recall from back when he was a kid, and it's the knife that Ladwis has, and it was his mother's knife. And we have that, that trope of the camera sort of swaying with the saturation on really high, or rather the brightness on very high, and this is a memory. We know this is a memory because that's what a memory looks like on film. So later he tells Ladwis about how he survived the death pit, and now it's Gunlaeus Gunlaeus's life that he has in his hand, which is obviously a departure, but they've cut a few characters, which is fine. You can do that, you can edit, you can chop stuff up, blah de blah de blah. It's fine if everything has context. Derval then tells Arthur why he's got a gob on with Gunlaeus and Ladwis. His accent is that sort of faux Saxon one again. So this, I suspect, was one of the first things they filmed before they all just decided, you know what, forget the accents. We're just gonna film this nonsense. Okay, let's just get it filmed and get home. As predicted, here comes Samson with the shoehorning. Bedwin, who's shown that he doesn't really get on with him and has talked about him behind his back a few times, because he's just too much of a god botherer for Bedwin's like. They become more conspiratorial for some reason, and they talk about God being with powers. It must be because of St. Patrick's letters being held there. Not sure what they're doing here. It doesn't have the context because they haven't woven it in as they should have, and now they're best mates. I don't know. It's an odd one. Because there's 3 nights of waiting for the moon and no payoff, we have lots of dancing, and why not? It's obviously cost production a lot of money to have all of these extras involved. I would have spent it on an army myself. We have another trope. This time it's Guinevere and Arthur definitely not talking about lambness bread to each other. Arthur can't get to sleep, he can't contain himself, and as he stands up, the director lets us know that Arthur's playing with fire. Once Arthur's had a good old stare at the back end of a horse, he meets Guinevere, who who never sleeps, and then he apologises while fingering her horse about not coming earlier.
I was just in the middle of undressing.
Oh, don't let me stop you, matron.
And then Arthur is up there like a rat up an aqueduct. No messing, no foreplay. With Guinevere, I mean, not the horse. Gunlaeus and Gorford then have a meeting where they lay out everything that they've been up to so far in the series, as if the audience are stupid and we don't understand what's going on. Or as if it's an episode of Dallas, and there's so many episodes that you can't remember episode 1392. You need a reminder. We don't need a reminder. It's 7 episodes so far. Stop treating us as if we're stupid, please. Thank you very much. Arthur then tells Bedwin that he's just not into Kywin, and Bedwin's like, yeah, whatever, mate, world peace. We've got invisible Saxons to beat off.
I was just in the middle of undressing.
Oh, don't let me stop you, man.
More dancing and music sponsored by My Singing Monsters. The dance is straight out of a Renaissance fair. I was half expecting giant turkey legs to be eaten by everybody, but then I suppose they must have run out of cash. We see Derfel staring at Kywin, and that seems to be the extent of their relationship at the moment. No POV of Derfel in love with her. No gifts to the boys, which he can keep hold of to prove his love for her later. I don't think you have to be Merlin to sense a future shoehorning occurring. Arthur and Guinevere are then a bit bang on about what each other are thinking when they stare at each other like this in the middle of a crowded room. So Kywin exits the room, and within 10 minutes she's gone full Craig David. You can see him on a Tuesday. And Guinevere's like, no, you're laughing, just don't worry about it. You go marry him. So the moon's in the right position and whatnot now, and so Guinevere and Arthur go off for another chat. This really should have been where they got married, and we would have had that book ending. Leave it, Dave, it doesn't matter. Anyway, because it's a TV show and there isn't a full 360 degrees around this clearing, Arthur takes Derfel to look after this one little bit that people can come in and out of, like a stage door. Gunlaeus uses that to his advantage and strangles Derfel. Derfel does the old trope of pretending that Gunlaeus has killed him. So Arthur turns up then as Gunlaeus is seething because of his failed attempt at the old stranglies, and he runs off like a teenager, slamming the door, reiterating that there's beef between all three of them. Again, because the audience just forgot that there's beef and just needed to be reminded of it. Otherwise, we would have thought they were all friends. It served so much purpose, this scene, and wasn't silly in the slightest. Arthur speaks to Kywin, and she says that she's chill, and he's probably best just nicking off in the night. And so he does. Bedwin's had enough, and he goes off to live in a monastery or something, leaving Arthur to propose to Guinevere, where she gives a speech where she just completely devalues herself, like all good women should in a situation like that. Arthur giving it I don't care because he's so romantic, and sort of a nod and a wink to the women at home to show that it doesn't matter who you are, your dreams are valid, that you'll marry a prince one day. Made me feel ill. Then Samson marries the happy couple, and he gets his church out of it and a promotion to bishop at last. Because for some reason the whole of Domania is suddenly Christian, even though they've only been shown really to be pagan so far. In the book it makes sense. It doesn't make sense here because they haven't put the work in for the context of everything, which is so the Winter King, the TV series. So my summing up, if it wasn't obvious, I didn't like it. I don't think it had any place within the series. All it does is diminish the importance of and the character that is Guinevere, reduce her to a Jane Austen side character, fawning over Arthur and being thankful for his love rather than being the strong Beyonce type independent woman that she is. In the books, it's if you're going to stray, and you can stray from the source material, the trouble is whenever you stray from the source material, it becomes less. If you're going to do it and it becomes more and there's a reason for it, then that's laughing, and I am with you. But this whole episode is it strays from the book. And what did we get? We just got trope after trope after trope. And that's not good writing. Right, let's see if we can get back on track next week, please. A little closer to the source material, because going off piste isn't your strong point. Comment below if you disagree with me, if you agree with me, if you've got a different take. Just put it in the YouTube comments and we'll have a chat about it. Like, subscribe, and get notifications and all that business. And I'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.